Hello, my name is Sarah Bostick, and I am the Sustainable Agriculture Extension Agent with the University of Florida in both Sarasota and DeSoto counties. So I'm actually originally from South Carolina, but I grew up in four different states as a kid. I moved around. I moved around a lot, and I lived in both urban and rural and suburban parts of the United States. So I got to see a lot of different ways of living growing up. Growing up, I loved going hiking, biking, playing soccer, running around in the woods, going on adventures. I actually loved doing yard work. I know that's probably not the most typical thing for a kid to love, but I really loved it. And so now, as an adult, I love most of those same things. I still love growing things. I love doing yard work. I love hiking. I love walking at the beach and swimming at the beach. There's so many things that I love to do. Almost all of them happen outside. Uh, so, as I said, I'm currently employed by the University of Florida. But when I was in middle school, I was pretty sure that I either wanted to be a marine biologist or a veterinarian. And I figured out pretty quickly after I spent a little bit of time on a boat that being a marine biologist was not a great idea for me. I get really, really motion sick on boats. So I had to cross that one off the list. And one of the biggest things that I was interested in about being a marine biologist was that I would get to spend so much time outside in nature, learning things and figuring out how things work. So eventually, I also decided that being a veterinarian wasn't quite what I wanted to do. I was more interested in being outside and being really active than I was being inside something like a veterinary clinic, working on the medical side of animals. So by the time I got to college, I decided I'm going to be a biology major. So that's what I did. I studied biology, and I also had a second major. I studied environmental studies as my second major. And those two majors together really helped me to get a really broad understanding of our world, and all the different incredible diversity in our world. There's so many different ecosystems and natural systems all across our world, and it really opened up my eyes to how many options there are in working in things like natural resources and doing outdoor work. So I also have a couple of certificates in things like landscape design, and I've studied Spanish a lot as well. I've done some really intensive studying of Spanish so that I can communicate more with people from different parts of the world. And I use all of that in my daily work. My work right now is as an extension agent means that my whole job is to help farmers and ranchers and home gardeners do what they do better. So when people come to me, farmers, ranchers, gardeners, they come to me with questions about, why is this not working, or how can I do this better, or what is this bug, or my tomato plant seems to have a disease. I use all of that information that I learned all through school in things like biology and chemistry, and even like communications, like my ability to speak Spanish. I help people figure out the best plan to deal with the issues that they're having, or to just help them make a good plan in their farm or agriculture business. So I've had many jobs before I came to this job. I graduated from college almost 20 years ago. So I've been working in agriculture actually since I graduated from college. So I've been in agriculture for about 20 years. And I actually started with an internship on a farm. It was a really, really neat internship. I actually lived in the farmhouse with the farm family, and I worked 6 days a week helping to run the farm. I learned a huge amount that year, including that I love agriculture. I love growing things. I love putting a seed in the ground and then being part of helping it become food, and then that food actually going to feed people. So I very quickly figured out that agriculture is exactly what I'm supposed to be doing in my life. And over time, over the last 20 years, I went from that first internship on a farm to then just becoming a regular employee on a farm, and then eventually managed a few farms. And then I eventually owned my own farm. And so during that stretch of time, I grew things like flowers that I would turn into bouquets and sell at farmers markets and to weddings and things like that. I also grew about 100 different varieties of vegetables, which was really, really fun. And I sold those through things like small grocery stores, directly to customers, farmers markets, things like that. And also a lot of seedlings. So like seedlings so that people can go home and plant their own garden, their flower and vegetable gardens. And then eventually I decided, I want to add another layer onto what I am doing with agriculture because I love growing food. I love feeding people. But I also am discovering that I love teaching about agriculture. So I got a job working on a teaching farm where people came and actually learned how to farm on this, it was like a learning farm. And I loved it. And so I realized that it was really important to me in my life to always be growing food, but also helping other people figure out how to grow food the best. So I did that job for a few years and then was able to travel a lot and go to really interesting conferences and I've visited almost, or actually, I think I've visited now over 1,000 farms in different parts of the world and the United States. So agriculture has actually even allowed me to travel. Once I figured out I love teaching and consulting with agriculture, all of a sudden I was able to pay my way traveling to different interesting parts of the world. So all of those jobs have led me to where I am today, working for the University of Florida. So I very specifically help farmers and ranchers right here in this area that we live in, Sarasota and DeSoto counties. But I also work with farmers and ranchers in other parts of the state that have really specific questions that really align with my background, where I can help them in a really specialized way. And with my current job, I do lots of teaching. This year, it's been all online. I teach about all sorts of topics, including understanding soil and why we have weeds and plants that just won't go away, edible gardening. I help host conferences on beef cattle production, so many different things. I also spend a lot of time actually on farms and ranches in the area, helping people figure out really hands-on, figure out what's going on, or helping them do things like take samples of their soil to send off to a laboratory to get tested. I do a lot also with the general public, the people that live in the urban areas of Sarasota County who are interested in simply learning more about how they can have their own successful backyard vegetable garden. So some of the things I enjoy the most about my job is that I get paid to help people figure out how to be the best growers and producers they can be. That's pretty awesome. I get paid to hear people, listen to people, figure out what they're struggling with or the things that they are hoping to do, and then help them make a plan. That's what I get paid to do. It's pretty awesome. So advice that I would give my younger self is just really remember that what I love the most in life is about being outside and helping people learn and grow and literally produce food. Those are all of the things that I've always loved my whole life. And so I know when I was much younger, I didn't entirely trust that I could turn that into a career. So if I could tell my younger self anything, it would be to believe that you can turn those things that you love right now into a career, because I did it. So advice that I would give to students right now is if you are like me and you have a lot of energy and you like figuring things out and you like being outside and you like doing really physical things, think about a career in agriculture or natural resources. There's so many really interesting jobs in agriculture and natural resources that get you outside most, if not all of the time. So you can be a farmer or rancher, or you can own a nursery, you can grow sod. There's so many different things you can do, but you can also get a degree in something like agricultural engineering. You can actually be an engineer that specializes in designing systems for farms and ranches, including things like robots for harvesting. There's really huge variety of jobs you can have in agriculture. There's also so many jobs in natural resources that go along with agriculture, things like growing and managing forest for timber. That's actually considered to be part of agriculture. So there's so many jobs that you can have if you're a person like me who really loves being outside and doing hands-on things. So good luck to you all. It's been great talking with you, and have a lovely day.